Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Andrew Alvarez, and I'm the Latino Conservative. Thanks for joining me today. I am on a quest. I am on a quest to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm up to about 525-ish, down to 515. It kind of goes up and down like that. But please, if you could, if you're coming up on this, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this content. Even if you don't agree with what I say, I still like to hear your point because your voice is important to me. And I want to hear what you got to say. We may not agree, like I said, but you're still somebody and I still want to hear what you have to say. And I would like to use my platform. If something is important enough to you, I'd like to use my platform to help get your voice across. Got a few topics of discussion today other than that. I've got to say that's the best way, by the way, you can help me out, help support me. I've got my Cash App link down below if you want to hook me up, so I can help keep this show going. I do this totally free. I don't get paid by anybody for this. I'm not monetized by YouTube or anything like that. And so, best way you can help me out is by sharing and subscribing to my to my videos. So the topics I've got today. First one happened over the weekend. Donald Trump kind of made a decent, kind of weird in my mind announcement. And he actually gave the go-ahead for certain parts of his team, of his administration, to start going and working with the transfer of power to Joe Biden. Now, the media is really, all of a sudden, they caught on to that. He sent a tweet out, and they caught on to that tweet. And they're throwing the words out, concede. He's conceding. He's given up. He sees no hope in winning the presidency. I don't think that's totally 100% true. You see, President Trump, he knows how to play the game. He wrote the game for a lot of parts. He wrote it. He's out there, and he's good at it. He's very good at it. But I think him making the move to transfer the powers is, one of two things. It's either one, kind of a diversion as to what he's actually doing, or two, maybe it's just him being responsible, him seeing that, hey, I might not actually win this thing. My path is getting smaller and smaller to victory, but it's still, even though it's still there, I do kind of want to be responsible and say, if I don't win, I'm going to transfer my powers peacefully. It's admirable. And a lot of people keep saying, well, why doesn't he just concede? Why doesn't he just concede? I mean, he's taking Hillary Clinton's cue. Hillary Clinton said, do not concede. No matter what, do not concede. Granted, she said that to Joe Biden, but what's good for him is good for Trump, isn't it? I mean, aren't we all equals here? Isn't that the platform that the Democrats were on? Equality. So what's good enough for Joe Biden is good enough for Donald Trump. Also, take it back, for those of you old enough, Al Gore. Didn't he take around 30 days to file his grievances? Yeah. So, as the elections back then went, he was still debating if he should file the grievances, and he ended up filing them almost a month later. So, George Bush was it George Bush? I forget. But his opponent, I think it was George Bush, was the president-elect, quote unquote, according to the media back then, for 30 days, for a month. The elections happened just about, what's today? Today is the 24th, so about 20 days ago is when the elections happened. Donald Trump made it clear right off the bat that he was going to contest those. And he did. He's within his time frames. And I see, like, if something were to happen and the court were to say no, I honestly see Donald Trump conceding at that point in time. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen. What I see happening, if it goes towards Donald Trump's way, there's all of these cases going out right now about fraud. And granted, there is voter fraud happening. There is no doubt in my mind that there's voter fraud happening. And please pardon the whatever that is driving by. Somebody decided that they want to rev their rice burner engine. They're probably going 20 miles an hour. But either way, so I don't think he's going to harp on that voter fraud part. I think what's going to happen is these fraud cases are happening. You have professional athletes out there that said they didn't vote. They chose not to vote, but they have votes in there. You have all of these clean, unfolded mail-in ballots that were perfectly filled out, like with the machine, that were counted. Now, mind you, for these mail-in ballots to be sent in, they're on a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, or 8 by 10, whatever size it is, but they have to be folded. These thousands and thousands of ballots were not folded, and they were all for Biden. So, did voter fraud happening? I do believe so. Can that change the outcome of the elections? I don't know. I don't know if there's enough of that to actually change the outcome of the elections. I think there was more going on that we don't know about. But there's affidavit after affidavit after affidavit, and that's evidence too. These affiants take sworn testimony and put it on paper saying they saw this happen. But the media's saying that there's no evidence of that. Even though an affidavit is technically and literally evidence. But either way, I think what's going to happen is not so much the voter fraud. It's going to be the process that's going to be questioned, and that's the process is going to be what ultimately takes these hearings to the next level of the legislator. Because while they're going for voter fraud. Trump's team is hitting on that in the media, and the Democratic Party lives off the media, so they're just hitting off of that. Boom. Process. The process was wrong. Therefore, these votes don't count. We've got to take it to the state legislator. I could be wrong. Might be wrong. Probably am wrong. But I could see that happening. So another thing that's going on with this whole transfer of power is that Biden has unveiled, finally, his national security team. And this in a news article from Newsmax declaring America is back. I'm surprised he didn't say America is black, because that's just Joe Biden. But America is back. Joe introduced sections for his national security team Tuesday. His first substantive offering of how he plans to shift from a Trump-era America First policies by relying on foreign policy and national security experts from the Democratic establishment to be some of his most important advisors. Biden's Washington veterans all have ties to former President Barack Obama's administration, as the Democrat has sought to deliver a clear message about the desire to reestablish a more predictable engagement from the United States on the global stage. And you see me sipping my tea? I mean, it's really coffee, but I'm sipping my tea on this one. He is, got coffee in my mustache, but he is signing up and re-signing these people from his old era, his old administration. The administration where he did absolutely jack crap. He didn't do anything during that administration, but he's signing up the same people. For me, it's kind of like in the car business. And I relate a lot of stuff for the car business because that's the business that I'm in. If I have a manager that gets hired brand new from another dealership that was meh, you got your dealerships out there that are just meh, but you also got your others that are just freaking phenomenal, and you got your dealerships that need help. If you get your manager from one of these average to below average dealerships, they have a tendency to bring their people with them. All of a sudden, that that dealership that you're looking to be helped is essentially dealership B all over again. And a lot of times, there's this factor called the CSI factor, which means customer satisfaction index. A lot of times that suffers. In fact, most of the times when I see this happen with the dealerships, the manager brings their own personnel in, the CSI suffers a lot. I see that happening here. You're bringing in people from a failed administration. Granted, He was popular. Barack Obama was very popular. One of the most popular presidents in history. But he failed. He failed at making America great. And I know that that's a Trump thing. But he failed at it. He bent the knee to China and he bent the knee to Iran and Iraq. Plain and simple. You have pallets full of money going to these other countries. You have another country in the Far East taking all of our business, taking our manufacturing jobs. And they're saying for green energy. No. Have you seen the environment over there in China? It is horrendous. The next time you put on your shoes, your Nikes, your Jordans, look at the tag. It says made in China. A lot of stuff says made in China. There's a lot of sites out there that are specifically Chinese sites. You go and order stuff from China, bring it back. What they don't show you is pictures of the people making that stuff. You know, here in the United States, we have this thing called a minimum wage. What is it, like $7.25, $7.50 or something like that? Some states it's going up. Some states it's going up to $15, and I don't agree with it, but it still is. That's their choice to do that. But China doesn't. In China, you get paid pennies an hour or a day. Little kids work in these sweatshops to put your Nikes together. You don't care about that though, do you? You got the hottest brand new Jordans out there, or the retros, whatever you want to call it. You've got the ones that look cool that cost you $230, yet they cost $5 to make because they paid some kid less than a penny for the time to make that one pair. They made 50 cents for the whole day making those Nikes. You know, I make a conscious effort myself as one who is totally opposed to child labor. Honestly, I buy my clothes from Walmart. I don't agree with Walmart on everything they do, but I do like that. Their brands are Faded Glory and George. Those aren't manufactured here in the United States either. But the countries that they are manufactured in, and I don't remember it off the top of my head, I just remember looking them up, but the countries that they are manufactured in have strict child labor laws. Nike doesn't. You are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for shoes that cost Nike pennies to make. I'm all for capitalism. I'm all for making a profit, but at a certain cost. There's certain lines I won't go past. I won't do anything illegal. Child labor is illegal. I won't do it in ways that are immoral. Paying someone pennies a day is immoral because the people that are taking that money, that product from that person and paying them pennies a day is basically stealing time out of their life. Would you work for that much money? No. You got people that won't even work for $7.25 an hour. You got people that finished high school and their first job is out there making $12 an hour. My first job ever back in 1996, I was making $10 an hour and I never looked back. I would never pay anyone a few cents a day. It's immoral. It should be illegal. Joe Biden's picks that he has, and I went way off topic on this, I know, but Joe Biden's picks are all from the Obama era. Obama gave manufacturing jobs to China. Obama gave money to Iran and to Iraq. Cash money. Cash. The whole Hunter Biden thing happened during the Obama era. Go figure that. This is another one. I'm going to have to take a sip of coffee on that one. What's going to happen now with meeting the big guy? Quote unquote. So let's talk about other news. This is something that really hits home for me, and I'm glad. I saw this. It's not political, but I saw this, and oh my goodness, it just made me feel so good. The Oxycotin maker Purdue Pharma pleads guilty in a criminal case. Purdue Pharma pleaded guilty Tuesday to 3 criminal charges, formally admitting to its role in an opioid epidemic that has contributed to hundreds of thousands of deaths over the past 2 decades. In a virtual hearing with a federal judge in Newark, New Jersey, the Oxycontin maker admitted impeding the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration's efforts to combat the addiction crisis. Purdue acknowledged that it had not maintained an effective program to prevent prescription drugs from being diverted to the black market, even though it had told the DEA it did have such programs, and that it provided misleading information to agencies as a way to boost company manufacturing quotas. I know people personally affected by this, and I am glad that the makers pleaded guilty for that. They admitted guilt. I am really glad over that. Oxycontin specific has killed people that shouldn't have been killed. It has taken families away from each other. It has caused divisiveness in families themselves. It had caused marriages to break up. All sorts of just trash that's happened. Another side effect of that is people trying to get off of this pill. And this is going to be the next step. This is going to be something that I'm going to try to use my small voice to make known. There is another drug out there, and it is given in clinics as a way to get off of this. It's called methadone. Little small clinics that you see on the street corners. You get a little lockbox, you get your weekly dose, but that methadone is sometimes more addictive, and a lot of times more addictive than this Oxycontin. It's horrible. I know personally of families that have been torn apart because of this drug that's supposed to help you. So Oxycontin makers, I think, great first step. Now let's get rid of this methadone. Not metformin, I was about to say that, but that's the diabetic medicine. That saves lives, literally. Methadone takes lives. I've also heard plenty of stories where people would go in and get their methadone doses. Then when they're in, if they get locked up and get put in jail, since it's not a prescription, they don't necessarily have to take it. And they either go through massive withdrawals because they don't have methadone, or they end up doing something really bad and they end up meeting Epstein because they don't have that methadone. It's something that's right here, close to me. I'm going to see to it personally that this methadone thing takes the same steps as Oxycontin, because it's just as bad, if not worse. I say worse because it is marketed as a product to get you unaddicted to Oxycontin and to other opioids. The facilities, they don't want you to stop taking their drugs, though. You go to the clinic to get the drug that's supposed to treat you, but they don't treat you. It's not a real clinic. A clinic is supposed to heal. These people keep you on their books, keep you rotating. So you got to go pay for each and every visit and then pay for the medicine, quote unquote, that's not medicine. And you're in their role, just going all day, every day, back and forth each day. You're going to get your dose along with hundreds of other people. I've seen people figure out how to pay for that pill, but they can't pay their water bill. They can't buy food. Yet they hustle to get that. It's like crack. A crackhead would never say, I don't have enough money to get crack, I'm not going to get crack. They find a way to get that crack. Same thing with this methadone. You never see a methadone person say, I don't have enough money to get this methadone, so I'm not going to take it today. No, they find a way. They make sacrifices. It's the wrong sacrifice, but they don't go without. They find the way. Whether it's cheating, stealing, borrowing money and never paying it back, whatever it is, they do that. I'm glad that the makers of Oxycontin finally pleaded guilty to that. It's something I've been watching. Now it's time for these makers of methadone to do the same thing. Next topic. let's talk about another illness. COVID-19. So, a little experience I had recently. One of the guys that I worked with tested positive. A travel restriction was put on me and I couldn't fly, understandably, because I don't want to infect as many people as I would come in contact with potentially on an airplane. I wouldn't want to do that. I would feel horrible about that. But I didn't test positive. Actually, I should say I haven't taken the test because I have had no symptoms at all. The slightest symptoms I had was when I was driving from LA to El Paso. In the middle there, there's this huge thing called a desert. It's full of dust. You could literally see the dust clouds off in the distance, and you see lights flashing every now and then, dust blowing warning. And yeah, that dust is what made me cough. No fever, no sore throat, nothing like that. It was just a cough from the dust. Because as soon as I got past that point, it went away. Doctors say that the CDC should warn people the side effects from the COVID vaccine shots won't be a walk in the park. And for the vaccines, there's actually 2 shots that you have to take. So their concern is that the people are going to feel so crappy after getting the first shot that they're not going to come back and get the second shot. I can get that. I understand why that would be an issue. But at the same time, if you go get that vaccine, do it right. I mean, you either get it or you don't. Don't do it halfway. That's one thing my mom used to always tell me, don't do it halfway, or she'd say another choice word instead of halfway. I don't want to say it right now because I don't want to get banned off of YouTube. But the CDC must be transparent about the side effects people may experience after getting their first shot of the coronavirus vaccine. The side effects, they say, are going to be similar to actually having the virus. Now that's a little questionable for me. I'm all for a vaccine. If it makes you feel better, if it prevents you from getting sick, I'm all for it. But is the vaccine for the coronavirus the same as the vaccine for the flu? Being you actually get the flu when you get the flu vaccine. You get a little bit of it. Do you actually get the coronavirus when you get the coronavirus vaccine? It sounds like it because you're getting the same symptoms. Why? Why would you give someone a life-threatening disease to prevent them from getting a life-threatening disease? And this isn't from just Pfizer or just Moderna, because those are the 2 that we have right now. It's from both. Both Pfizer and Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine require 2 doses. And she's worried, Dr. Sandra Freihofer is worried that her patients won't come back for the second because of potentially unpleasant side effects. Both companies acknowledge that their vaccines could induce side effects that are similar to symptoms associated with mild COVID-19, such as muscle pain, chills, and headaches. You know, it's kind of like food. Some people are sensitive to some foods. And when you eat a certain food that makes you sick, you don't eat that food again. There's a scientific term for that, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's some scientific effect. But that's how you learn what you can eat and what you don't eat. For some people, it's Jägermeister. I'm just speaking facts, you know. Some people, it's cheese. They can't stand cheese and blah, they won't eat cheese again. They have that weird, ugly side effect every time they see cheese now. Same thing with, like, if it is the Jägermeister. You come across some Jägermeister, you smell it and you get sick. Automatically. Even if your first illness from it was because you had too much. If you had too much, you'll never have enough again. Same thing with this. If it makes you sick and you're scheduled for 2, you won't go back. You just won't. That's just how people are. People have learned that if something makes you sick, you don't go do it again. If you believe in evolution, how do you think we survived? If somebody ate a berry that made them extra sick. They didn't go eat that berry again, and they told everybody else about it. They didn't go eat that berry. I don't believe in evolution myself, but you get the point. Time for another drink. But you got these companies out here that are going to give the coronavirus to somebody else and tell them, come back for a second one. You feel this one's going to make you feel crappy, but we're going to give you another one, and it could potentially make you feel even crappier. How many people you think are going to actually do that? Let's talk about, and I've got to be really careful on this one. In fact, before I get to this one, I've got a new drink that I'm going to try. That's right, that's little Snoop Dogg, little cab on here. Is that enough? But, and I kind of do that for a couple of reasons. The OANN, which is One American News Network, very conservative, right-leaning news station, one of President Trump's favorite stations. It is the polar opposite of CNN and MSNBC and all those good things. But they were banned for a week from YouTube for posting misinformation about the coronavirus. So that's what I say. I got to be careful about this one. I'm on YouTube. In fact, this is going to be on YouTube. They were banned for a week, and they're quoted, "After careful review, we removed a video from OANN and issued a strike on the channel for violating our COVID-19 misinformation policy, which prohibits content claiming there's a guaranteed cure." Okay, I could see that. I didn't get to see that video because they evidently took it off, but how does YouTube know what is and what isn't a guaranteed cure? There's never going to be a guaranteed cure. Never. There is never going to be one. I don't care who you say you are, what you say you think, what you know. No, there's not going to be a cure. Social distancing was supposed to stop the curve, and it hasn't. Masks were supposed to stop the curve, and it hasn't. Lockdowns were supposed to stop the spread, and they haven't. Nothing is stopping the spread of this thing. I don't know if it's actually spreading or the numbers are right or wrong or what, but nothing is slowing it down. Nothing. Sorry. But you get the point. Let me straighten this up a little bit. Sorry about that. But nothing is stopping this. There's never a cure. There's not going to be one. The common cold. There's not even a cure for the common cold. You can treat the symptoms, but you can't treat the disease. You can't cure the disease. Diabetes. There's not a cure. There isn't. You can treat the symptoms, but you cannot cure the disease. With the common cold, the way to beat the common cold is just to let it run its course. And that's how people are beating this coronavirus, is by letting it run its course. That's it. You get tired. You get a headache. Some people it affects really bad. And I don't have to expand more on that, but some people it affects worse than what it actually does. I know of many cases where somebody has died because of COVID, but it was a motorcycle wreck or a car crash or something like that, or a heart attack. I know of people that have tested positive for COVID, but they never took a test. So, I don't believe this is a fake disease at all. It is a real thing. I don't believe all the numbers and all the hype about it. I could go into a real far-right conspiracy theory on it, but I have no grounds on that, no real true basis for that. It'd be just all hype and what I think it is. And it could be a logical train of thought to some people. But at the end of the day, What I believe it is, I have no evidence for. So it really and truly isn't going to help anybody. It's not going to help us get past this. Could get me banned. And I don't want to get banned. So I won't go into too much details on that. However, how are we going to fix this? If nothing is fixing it right now. Lockdowns aren't the thing. You cannot keep safe by locking everybody down. In fact, it might make it worse. In fact, to that, let's try this cab real quick. Not too shabby, Snoop Dogg. That's some good stuff. But I think the way for us to beat this is just to beat it. Live life. People die of the flu. People die of coronavirus. People die of pneumonia. People die of diabetes, heart attack, kidney disease, car wrecks, smoking, emphysema, cancer, heart disease. You know, they have a lot of stuff. And while I'm not saying that COVID-19, the lethality rate of it isn't true, what I am saying is that if we understand that maybe the numbers aren't exactly right, maybe the person that got tested twice, once came out positive, once came out negative, and they got tested at the same time, maybe that person might not really have it. Maybe if hospitals didn't get paid more for a COVID-19 related death, then maybe states could open up. The economy could thrive again. And another reason why I don't believe the numbers are as bad as they say they are bad. And I say they, I mean the people in power, they. Governor Gavin Newsom, California. He just locked it down while I was over there. I tried to go to a restaurant to eat, and I wasn't allowed to. I tried to go to Best Buy to buy some RAM for my laptop. I wanted to look around for a couple other things. I like Best Buy. I like the electronic gadgets. I wanted to find another camera. But when I was in line, they asked me, "Hey, what are you here to get?" I could get some RAM. That's what I'm going to walk out with. Okay. You got to wait. Person behind you, what are you here to get? We're here to get the new iPhone. Okay, you go on ahead. Whoa, wait, they got here after me. Finally, my turn finally came up. They said, "Okay, Mr. Sir, looking for the RAM. Go to the computer section and step on spot number 2. I have to step on spot number 2. Well, can I look around afterwards after I'm done? No. If you want to look around afterwards, you got to actually look online. You can't actually come here till you know what you want. Wow. I couldn't go and look around. I had to go in, step on number 2, wait for the person on number 1 to get finished, and then go step on number 1, and then wait for him to finish, wait for everybody else to finish, and then it was my turn. I had to go in and buy RAM. I couldn't go in and go look for a camera or go look at. I wanted to look at one. I might have walked out with one. I don't know. If I saw one that I liked, I could have very well walked out with one. But no, I had to specifically go and look at the RAM. Governor Newsom shut it down. But he was caught eating at a fancy restaurant, one of the fanciest restaurants in California, with like 12 other people. But this is the same guy that wants to put restrictions on in-home Thanksgiving and in-home Christmas. You can go to a strip bar, but you can't go to church. You can go to get food, but you can't eat it at the restaurant unless you're Governor Gavin Newsom, or if the restaurant has enough seating outside. You can't eat inside anymore. I was able to go to Walmart and get whatever I wanted. Walmart's a big company though. Nancy Pelosi, same thing. She locked down, she's all for these lockdowns, but she was out there having dinner too. She went out to go get a haircut and directly violated the lockdowns. Democrat. Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, same thing. Democrat. Was violating the lockdowns. What do they know that they're not telling us? Why are they putting these lockdowns and then violating them? Why? They're not telling us something, guys. They're not. Could it be that they're just trying to control us? Trying to turn us into a communist country? I mean, after all, you've got a president and a vice president who are very socialist, and they understand that the best way to take away somebody's rights, to take away somebody's freedom, is by taking away one right at a time. First, it's the masks. Then it's, hey, you can't go there. Oh, well. Yeah. Then it's, you can't meet with your family. Next thing you know, you can't own a gun. You can't speak your mind. You can't say, oh, wait, that's already happening. We've got the cancel culture that is taking out certain things. I can't say I'm straight anymore without offending somebody. I'm cis. I can't say straight anymore. I can't say certain words that other people say regularly, frequently, because I might offend somebody. Go figure. Guys, again, thank you for listening to me rant and rave, but I do feel wholeheartedly about everything I've said, political or not political. I do want to hear what you have to say too, so please drop me a comment. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Help me get to 1,000 followers, guys. I'm here for you. I want to be your voice. And the best way I can get out there to be a voice is by gaining this little thing called relevance. And I swear, once you hit that 1,000 mark, it's a snowball. So that's why I'm trying to do this. Not for the money, not for the fame, but just to be a voice for you. For me, the average guy. Not these blue checkmark guys that sit there and get paid to speak hours and hours a day that don't really represent what we say, what we think. You know, the guys out there that make $125,000 and less, because that is right where that line is. Once you start making over $125,000, you got more of a voice than the average person. Heck, I'll even say $75,000 and less, because we work hard, just as hard as these other guys, as everybody else, sometimes harder, to make every single penny we got, and people don't listen to us. We are the majority, but they treat us like the minority. I'm here for you guys. My name is Andrew Alvarez, and I'm the Latino Conservative.